Well, hello again. Welcome to round 6 of the 2024 AMSA Off-Road Series. This race is at Limestone, Marble Mountain. I'm in the 40A class. It's Brian Miller here, and I'm going to walk you through my race. Had a decent start. Wolfgang is out in front of me here, and Neil, Jesse, and I'm not sure who was on the Husky there, but had a decent start, 4th place. I'm happy with that. Heading into the trees. So last year it had snowed the day before the race and the conditions were pretty slimy. I was out here a couple weeks before the race and the conditions were pretty much mint. And then there was a pretty decent storm the night before, lots of rain and hail and whatever. And yeah, this morning it was a slick one. So I'd say conditions were probably just as tough as the year before. And yeah, made for an interesting race. So buckle up and you can check out the highlights here. Off the start of these races, nobody's in too much of a panic to get going, but like I said, the track was pretty slick, and coming up here I got off the trail just a smidge and gave it some throttle and ended up sliding out and lost a pile of positions, so just wasn't doing myself any favors off the start of this race, unfortunately. Pretty minor tip over, but Mansfield goes past me, and Wayne goes past me, and I'm sure a couple other guys must have gotten past. Andy, I think, as well is there. He probably passed me, so now I'm behind a bunch of guys that I'm competing with. So yeah, that was a really shitty place to do something like that. I've sped up some of the video here just because it's either quad trail or there's several hills here that take just forever to get up, and I personally can't watch myself do take that long to get up hills. So in the interest of keeping this somewhat short, I've sped up some of the video just This is all new this year. Last year they had us kind of staying low a little bit longer and riding a different section, so I hadn't seen this hill before. And yeah, I had a Shinko, a 110 cheater on, which is a pretty narrow tire, but the lug pattern spacing is pretty decent. But the mousse that I had in my tire was so sacked out, I was worried I was going to get it off the rim, so I put on a 120 with a firmer mousse, and the spacing is a lot closer. So when you're looking for traction, tight lug spacing isn't your friend, and that reinforced that this race, trying to get up some of these hills. But it's my own downfall for putting on those tires and being cheap when I can get these Shinko cheaters for about $100 and actually decent enduro tires are probably closer to 200 bucks. So being a cheapskate, and I'm paying for it in a race like this. Ride Limestone, you'll notice they do have some trails that are sort of marked, and in this case, on this particular trail, there's an A-B split there. It says B go left, A go right. So there's a few places where they have these markings, and then some of the old race loops will have either distance markers, or some of the hills climbs are named. I don't know this area a whole heck of a lot, so I can't really tell you what all these hills are called, but I'm sure each one of them has a name, so somebody will know these things, but unfortunately I'm not the guy. I just I just try to survive here. That's their t-shirt. You don't race limestone, you survive it, and I would say it's held true for the last 2 seasons. This is funny, coming up here, going around these corners, and then somebody pops out of nowhere, and turns out Elliot Boudreau forgot his pack on the line and decided it wasn't really a good idea to go around the race course without his water, so he turned around and went and fetched that, and he ended up passing me a little bit later on, as you can see in this video. Yeah, he had to go all the way back to the start to get his water. This quad trail, these quad trails are actually pretty gnarly, probably more dangerous than the actual trails, because you think, oh yeah, I can just rip on this, and there's just things all over the place ready to take you out. But anyways, I'm moseying up my way on this hill, and was completely oblivious to the flagging on the left and the marker telling me that I need to turn left here. So I kept going and started to climb this hill, and then came across another rider who let me know that he had also screwed up and kind of got pointed in the right direction. So this cost me about a minute of time here. Not huge, but obviously in a race every second counts. So that was my own damn fault for not paying attention.
You don't think so? You've been up there? You went up there? Nothing?
Well, at the corner there's no ribbon.
Oh, so. Fuck, okay.
Pretty decent amount of loamy sections to ride through. I'm not sure if this was really loamy, but in those loamy sections there's also a ton of roots. So I would say this course has a lot of side hill rooty sections that don't necessarily see a lot of sun, and with that the confidence you have in your front end goes, because your tire wants to follow those roots and not necessarily where you're, the direction you're headed. The quicker you're riding it, probably the better it is. The slower you're going to catch all these roots, and it just doesn't instill a lot of confidence. So I think a lot of people, they're butts were probably puckered up going through a lot of this, especially early on in the day when it was just challenging conditions, and trying to not make mistakes and trying to keep it upright resulted in slower times than you would have otherwise seen if things were dry. But everybody's racing the same course, so you just buckle up and yeah, hang on, I guess. I messed up here and laid my bike over yet again, so a couple times. No major crashes this race, thankfully, but yeah, just some simple tip over. So these hills, you'll see there's guys scattered everywhere, and some people just get a good run at it and they clean it and they're off and gone, and then other people like me here are pissing around and trying to get up and just can't find any traction, so the hill's taking infinitely longer than it should have, which is why I've sped this up. I don't want to belabor this, but yeah, it was tough going. And I guess earlier in the year, Porky's, a lot of people felt that it was pretty slick and in challenging conditions, and oddly enough in that race I didn't have any problem with any hills, so I'm not sure if it's, I don't know what to blame, other than just we're all weekend warriors here, and you're just inconsistent, I guess, in the way you're riding, and some days you're feeling it, some days you aren't, and some days everything seems to click, and other times you're picking your bike 100 times, so it's the nature of the beast.
Can I ride down and just turn up, maybe? How's it going? Oh, man.
this hill is called, but it is a very long, sustained hill, and I'm not necessarily moving at a pretty rapid pace here, but I'm getting up it, and yeah, it's a very long hill. The next day we actually rode this whole loop backwards, and it was fun coming down here because you didn't have to be on the trail. You could kind of bomb through the trees and just rip through it, no problem. But yeah, it's a very long, sustained climb, so your arms start to get tired, and I don't know. I find I guess it's easier going up these hills than down the hills, for me anyways. Last year this section was pretty tough. I was stuck in a long train of people here, and I decided I was going to go off to the right and bullshit my way up the hill, and the moss was just so slick last year, and there was rocks underneath. So I'd say it was easier this year, but I still just, with the slippery conditions, didn't clean it, and took a hell of a lot longer than I should have to get up this particular hill. Going up this hill isn't bad. Coming down it, after this hill is an extremely long downhill and very tiring. So going up, it's actually the easy part. Coming down the other side is kind of a killer. This section here was called Snake Bite. They had blocked off the line that you could sort of cheat and not have to go around these trees for the race, but it's very steep, extremely sharp left-hander here where you could easily just go over the bars. And it added a little spice to this the next day. Neil Carlson and I decided we were going to go up this on the race loop, and it was a challenge, but we got up and around it. It wasn't too bad, and then we cleared out the stuff that was blocking the trail, and he was able to just climb that like no problem. Now here's another one that normally this shouldn't be anything, but screw up at the bottom, and now you're just gonna waste a whole bunch of energy trying to get up. And not in a race, you would turn around, drop to the bottom, hit it again, and fly up. But in the panic race situation, you're just, oh, okay, I'm just going to push my bike up a hill. So, yeah, painful to watch, but that's how she goes sometimes. races, I'm looking for the hard line, and this route step up looked like the hard line, so of course I got to hit it, and didn't do too bad on it. But a lot of people would go around and try to save energy. That's the smart thing to do, but the challenging and fun thing to do is to hit these hard obstacles. That's sort of why I'm in the A class, is to find the gnarly shit and ride it. So you're cheating yourself if you're gonna skip these things. This is Darrell's Hill, and yeah, there's a few guys in the way, so I couldn't clean it up this thing. And I think it took me 9.5 minutes to get up this hill. So I've sped up the video so that you don't have to watch me struggle here. But at the end of the race, I've got a couple little bonus footage pieces that I wouldn't normally put in. One of me climbing this a few weeks earlier and doing it in under 2 minutes, as well as some of the other parts of the A loop that you might not necessarily see in this video. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, middle of the race, struggling up a hill. There's a whole gang of us here that are all just bunched up, and yeah, it's a long process to get up.
Go ahead. How's it going? Hey Ian! How's it going? Ah, fuck.
is, I don't know what the heck this area is called. There was probably a sign somewhere, but it's a challenging section. We're getting towards the first part of the end of the first part of the A loop, but man, this was, yeah, it's pretty tough going in here when the conditions are slick and you're not when you don't have the right setup. So I struggled in here a fair bit and lost a pile of time as a result.
Shit. Oh.
So I finally get up, and then one of these greasy logs just adds insult to injury and has me toss my bike to the ground. So they might look pretty innocuous, but yeah, when they're not pointed the right direction and you're tired, you screw up and throw your bike on the ground. This particular hill here seems to always have my number. Super loamy. We rode it, like I said, the next day we rode this whole thing backwards. This hill is extremely trenched out. I have no idea if you'd be able to run a race up this again because there's just, foot peg height trench going up the hill. So to go around it, you get into this loam, and of course it's super greasy today, and there's lots of trees that are down and roots, and I was paying attention to my watch here to see, okay, what's cut off? Am I going to make cut off? And thinking, yeah, I've got, 15 or 20 minutes to get there. And just looking at the task ahead of me, I sort of figured I was screwed to make it for the second part of the A loop. So spoiler alert, I don't make it to the second part of the A loop. I missed cut off by 3 minutes. And it's sections like this where I'm screwing up and not cleaning them that cost me all this valuable time. But such is life.
section is called Cliffhanger.
This is right after the stump section.
I'm not making
Now you're kind of out in the open and got some really cool views and some fairly exposed ridges that you're riding along. So it's a pretty sweet vista, but not a place you want to make a mistake when you get really close to the edge. So at this point, I'm riding with several intermediate riders now, I guess, and we're all just trying to make our way to the finish. So coming up here, we're gonna drop down this shaly ridge, and it's a pretty neat, unique part, I guess, of this race course. But it's not for the faint of heart when you take a right and drop a wheel down here. So you sort of got to buckle up and just hold your nerve. Jacob here was asking me, how much time do we have? And I'm like, yeah. I start my timer when the pros take off, and I knew we had less than a minute, so we weren't making cutoff. But as we drop in here, you can see on the left-hand side, there was a little bit of, you can't notice it, I don't think now, but there was some flagging off to the left-hand side because they were thinking of maybe running this race, I guess, in reverse. And this is one of those hills that, especially if it's wet, would be a hell of a time trying to get up. So they had some alternate lines cutting through here to climb up if they were going to run in reverse. But in the end, they ran it counterclockwise, I guess, which is the way that we rode it, the last year. On these rocky sections after having broke my hand in one of those in September last year. But anyways, I had conserved, I guess, maybe was a bit too conservative, I guess, on the first half of this loop, knowing what was ahead for the second half. I really wasn't going for broke on the first half of this, even though I was according to my watch anyways, my average heart rate was 172 and my max was 197, so it wasn't like I was taking it easy the whole time, but still just trying to have some left in the tank for the second part of this race when I thought things were really going to kick off. But now that I knew I was missing cutoff, I thought I'd pick up the pace somewhat and finish strong. So I'm kind of in the mix here with a few of these intermediate riders, and just need to get the move on and get through this to get to the field check and call it a day. Drawing to the close of my race here. Needless to say, I was somewhat disappointed, I guess, in my result. I was 4th last year and 4th again this year, so that was pretty consistent. And with the extra 10 kilometers, I'd say obviously either the conditions were better or I rode better this year, but it still, you know, I guess pisses me off that I didn't make cutoff. So that's gonna leave a little sour taste in my mouth. But that's racing. So we drop in here and they tell us, yeah, we're done, which I knew ahead of time. So not the end of the world, but stay tuned for some bonus footage.
210, 703.
Yeah, that extra 10 kilometers kind of fucked us.
What, you guys, you lost the trail? 10
No.
kilometers?
No, they added like 10K to the first. It's 37K here, and last year it was only like 26 or 27, so.
Good job, guys.
Thanks.
All right, as promised, some bonus footage. This was, I think, August 11th, if I'm not mistaken. So a couple weeks before the race. This is Darrell's Hill, and by no means did I ace this hill on this attempt, but just shows you the difference in times. It took me 9 minutes and 30 seconds to get up this hill in the race, and here I do it in under 2. So you can sort of multiply that across all the hills that we faced, and if I sucked as bad as I did on this hill on every other hill, then it was you know, I was just losing time every time I came to any kind of feature here that would challenge me. So yeah, anyways, just gives you some perspective. These not everything here is as gnarly as it is in the race, and of course when you're in the race and you got people in your way and you're already spent because you've been going hard for so long, it's a different kettle of fish, I guess. But just a lot of people, and myself included, you'll watch a video and think, oh geez, that looks so easy, and I know I could just kill it and clean it, and wow, these people suck, and no, it's not that steep, and all the other bullshit stuff that you tell yourself. But you want to saddle up and come ride some of this stuff, hit me up. I'll take you to some of these places and you can show me who's boss, because I'm not saying I'm that great of a rider, but these are definitely challenging places to ride for all but the best riders. So yeah, this is why we come out here and do this, is to hit stuff like this and challenge ourselves. At least that's why I come out and do it. So yeah, thought I'd share a couple of these clips with you. Now, this is in the second part of the A loop. So if you see my video from last year, I might have some of this in here. Last year, it took me and another guy well over an hour to get up through this whole section. I haven't included the entire section, but it took us forever. It was so chewed out and so slippery. We were yarding each other's bikes up, and we ran into a bunch of riders that were coming back the opposite direction, because if you hit this section solo, there was no hope for you. So this again was 2 weeks before the race, and just a completely different riding experience compared to the year before. So just wanted to sort of highlight the fact that you know, these races, nothing's static, and you know, when conditions are favorable, things can go fairly well, and when they aren't, you just gotta buckle up, because it's gonna be a heck of a long ride. I've got an on-off switch there on my fan, so I often forget to turn it back on, but I don't like it running when my bike stopped. So you'll see me hit that every once in a while. But yeah, there's a couple buddies here. Danny Frey was there, and Tom Matchnick was out with me this day, and Joel Wilkinson, and Misha. There was a few of us that went out riding here, and I was the only guy that had rode this loop, so I wanted to take them on a challenge. But yeah, you can see there's yeah, it's it's tough to put in perspective, I guess, but just trust that this is a pretty insane section, and we all managed to get through it, but not without our trials and tribulations.
Yeah, this was the fucking really hard shit.
This is awesome.
The process.
I would like to,
Have a do-over?
oh, I just didn't know I was up there.
If you can go that way. So a guy went off over here, like on the right into this valley. It's like, holy fuck, somewhere around here. Yeah, this is the real deal here. Yeah, you're not going there. You want to come this way? Okay.
Alright, this is the tail end of my video here. I would say this was probably the hardest part of the entire race last year. Just really rocky, rooty, difficult section to get through. A couple weeks ago we came through here and my buddy Tom knocked his chain off of his XCW and bunched it up around the front sprocket, so we had a fun time getting that untangled. But yeah, there's lots of potential for things to go wrong here. It's super steep on the right hand side, and I think last year several riders might have went down over there, and I'm not sure how the heck they would have gotten out because it was just super gnarly. But yeah, here I was riding and pulling and doing whatever else, but got up it all by myself, whereas last year myself and Joel Dean teamed up to get through this section, and like I said before, it took us, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes to get through here. It was just ridiculous. Mind you, we had just made cutoff, so we knew nobody was behind us, and we weren't really going for broke, but at the finish line last year, I think there was less than 2 seconds between us, so it was a pretty tight battle once we got through here and we started racing. Anyhow, didn't make it this far this time around, which, yeah, kind of sucks, and you know, would have loved to have done better at this race. Podiumed every other race this season, so it's a bit of a sore spot that I came in fourth, but I won't lose any sleep over it, and we've got a couple rounds left before we wrap up here, and they should be, again, a couple more tough rounds, so yeah, just try to survive. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, feel free to private message me or put a comment on here, let me know what you like and don't like. I've got tons of video. I pretty much video every time I go out and ride, so I've got a lot of video. I just don't necessarily post it all online, but I like to share these race videos because I know a lot of people attend these races and not everybody captures it, and they want to share the experience with others, and so hopefully you can use this video as a bit of a chance to relive what you went through and see where I screwed up and maybe you screwed up, and tell all your friends about it. So hopefully we'll see you guys out on the course here, but until next time, I'll leave this play, and thanks for watching, guys and gals. Take care.
That was about an hour last year to get up that section.